Yeah, you mentioned rough patches and people starting off hot and having a rough patch. That kind of reminds me of the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're talking about them like breaking the record and doing all these things, and then they lose to the same team 3 times in 2 weeks. Um, just I don't know if from your experience, obviously in the NBA, did you ever play a team that you felt like it had your number, like you were like
It's a great question.
dominant against other people, but this specific team, I mean, 3 times in 2 weeks is weird stuff.
Yes, that's a great question. The Warriors. Other than that, no. Was there a team that like bothered us? First off, I have to think of a team that I was on that was dominant, and then think of if there's a team that we struggled with. The only thing that comes to mind anytime I think of struggle in the NBA, it was just the Warriors. But everyone had the same problem when no one could beat them. So, but in this case, and I could speak on it from the aspect of all levels. It's no different than even playing at your local LA Fitness or whatever. If you play a team and they beat you once, from then on it'll be different. Once you realize as a human being, it's just in our nature, it's in our mental, you could do something, it's different. It's like when a boxer has these beliefs that, you could beat the champion. As soon as you hit him once and wound him, it's like you see it in a fight. You'll see like it come on. You're like, oh shit, I could do this. You know what I mean? So Spurs, obviously, you look at their depth chart, they're very talented. They have a guy who's more athletic and longer than Chet in Wemby. And I love Chet. I think Chet is a fantastic player. He would start on every team in the league. He is a star. Big fan of his game. Wemby is better than him, and that's not a slight to Chet. That's just more of an up to just Wemby's going to end up being a top 5 player in the NBA probably by the end of the year if he's not already. So you got Wemby, who kind of takes a lot of what they do out. Their length bothers them, and then you surround him with very athletic, capable guards who can all guard and who are all just as aggressive as OKC. OKC are they play like bullies. They play like bullies. Now, they come across as like sweet and cute, and they do these little post-game interviews, and everyone's always smiling, and like Shea's like a very likable, nice guy, and these guys all seem like great people off the court. I don't get into all of that because, from what I know, first off, Shea's a great dude, and all those guys, they only recruit, sign, and draft good people. Like Presti just doesn't sign a bunch of – he don't have dickheads in that locker room. So all good guys. But on the court, they play nasty. Caruso's a hack. And I love Alex Caruso. He's always been a hack. The best defenders usually are. They're able to get a lot.
The belief that if you foul every play, they can't call it every play type of thing.
They can't call everything, man. Pat Beverly used to do all type of shit in the game. Draymond does stuff all the time. You know how many illegal screens Draymond sets? But if every screen he sets is damn near illegal, then eventually, like you start, the water gets murky. Yeah. They all hack. Case and Wallace, they reach, they foul, they grab, they're aggressive. They're the aggressors. I can't tell you how many games, for instance, the Rockets game 1 of the year. You got Reed Shepherd coming over half court. Again, this is when he was still wet behind the ears. Now that season's gone on, we've seen Reed kind of transform into a whole different player. They're picking him up. And then as soon as you get over half court, they do this thing where they'll just like sit there with you and you have no room because once you get over that half court, you can't go back. So it's like a line of like lava there and you're like against it. And they just press you. They switch and they're hacking, they're reaching, they cover for each other. And that's why they've been one of the best defensive teams in the league. Probably the best when you account for all the awards that these guys, when they have like 3 all-defensive guys on one team, right? The Spurs do the same thing. And it's the first time they've played against a team, I think, that has truly been able to mask that energy. Dylan Harper, Stephen Castle, Kelvin Johnson, they're deep. Shit, even Vassell. You go to the bench with guys who sometimes play, don't play. They come in the game and have a burner on them. Campany, he not even like a premier player on that team, and he's a dude that comes in and shoots like 40-something from 3 every night. So they got guards in depth. They're aggressive. They defend. They have length. And then I didn't even mention De'Aaron Fox. So they have guys that know how to close games. They have young talent. And they're aggressive. And right now they're very, very confident. And I can't say versus everybody. It's like if I saw the Spurs play against the Nuggets, they'd probably lose.
Well, they lost the other day to the Jazz, but they didn't have De'Aaron Fox. But still, they should be beating the Jazz, right? Like
a lot of the NBA is matchup, man. Like You know, like you just said, they lost to the Jazz the other night. Even though they didn't have De'Aaron Fox, they should be winning these games. But like they'll play against, Denver and struggle. But then they play against OKC and like they get up for them. By the way, again, we were talking about them breaking the record, and I don't think that's going to happen. With that being said, they're going to end up having another historic season, and they'll end up top seed in the NBA. I still don't believe anybody could beat them in 7-game series, other than possibly Denver if we get like a absolute historic performance from Nikola, which he's completely able to do. We just saw on Christmas he had 57, 15, and 15. Can he sustain that for a whole series? That's the question. I've seen him do it before. So besides that team, the Spurs might be the only team I do feel have their number. Now the question again remains: can OKC? Is that the only team that has their number? Is that the only team that can compete with them in 7 games? They start out like 25-1, and everyone's like, "Yo, we got to cancel the NBA. It's not fair." Now they've lost 3 in a row to the Spurs, and everybody's like, "The Spurs are the team." It's so funny how how everyone frames the NBA from week to week. But yeah, man, it's crazy that the Spurs are playing them like that. They play them with just this level. When you watch them, they talk shit the whole game. Wemby's talking. They don't like them, and it's not personal. It's out of respect. I you know what I mean? It's like I think they don't like them like we're just as good as you type thing. So when I say they don't like them, I don't mean it to be a personal jab. I mean you get tired of people having so much success. I couldn't stand the Warriors. I couldn't stand the Warriors so much that them having their downfall right now gives me nothing but sweet joy. Every night before I go to sleep, if a Warriors game is on, I'll just watch. And I just watch them lose. And I just pretend that I was one of those players on the floor giving them an L. Because I damn sure didn't give them a lot when I was playing. All I did is take L after L after L. Every time I was on a good team and I got to where, hey, we had hope. I think we could win with this team. We'd run in that Warriors team that when got Kevin, and it wasn't even fair. We just would lose to them. And I have nothing but pure happiness. And I don't have happiness in other people's misery. You know, misery does love company. But I'm not one of those type of people. I don't like to see people do bad. So there's nobody individually I want to see do bad. It's just Warriors as a whole. Seeing them lose gives me joy.
At least you're honest about it. I have a question for you. If you're the Spurs and or let's put it this way, if you're the Thunder and you go to a series against the Spurs, do you go into it like, man, this team's beat us, they have our number, or do you go into it, this is a playoff series, we're the champions, or do you think it's in the back of your mind a little bit?
It'd definitely be in the back of your mind because it's not like you're not trying during the regular season. It's not like they didn't try to win the NBA Cup. So they know this team's a real threat. They know that they have had their number all season. So that's a real thing. I mean, you saw Shea say it, like, yo, nobody beats you 3 times in a row without you not thinking they're better than you. That's the best player on the team saying that. So it's definitely real. Is it a new life when the playoffs start? Absolutely. You're telling me in a couple months from now, if the Thunder and OKC meet up in a playoff series that they're not going to be like, all right, well, listen, you beat us in the regular season. Let's see if you got it here. It's 0-0 now. Let's see what y'all really got. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what the coach is going to sell, right? This is what you do as a coach, as a leader. You would probably walk in that locker room and be like, yo, listen, we struggle with this team. We got something to prove. I don't care if we're the champions. I don't care if we're the ones who have everything to lose, if all the pressure's on us, all that. Not with this team. This team has beaten our ass all year, and the whole league is told, running around saying that they've had our number, and it's time for us to go ahead and put that shit to bed. And we're going to do it here in the playoffs when it really counts. That way, in the future, when a couple teams beat us in the regular season, they think they got something cooking. When the playoffs start, we show people why we're the baddest team in the world. That's what you got to come and sell to your group.
The flip side would be like, this is maybe the Thunder needed some motivation. They were beating everyone by 20. Shea wasn't playing in the fourth quarter. Now they have something to keep them engaged completely.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I think it's always good to lose a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what's weird? The two teams, like last year we saw Giannis in the Cup give them problems, and the Spurs give them problems. It's these teams with these freaky guys like Giannis or Wemby. But only a couple teams have Giannis and Wemby. So it's not like this enormous problem that the Thunder have, right? Like we struggle against the alien freaks is pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah, it's, Jalen Williams kind of went up there and said it on the podium. He was like, why are you guys struggling with San Antonio? He's like, they have this guy who's like 7'5", who just sits in the paint and just kind of like bothers everything. And everyone's like, don't y'all have kind of the same thing? It's like, yeah, that's probably why they've been bothering a lot of teams the past couple of years. Not to mention they have pesky guards who could slide their feet, kind of like San Antonio. The makeup of their team is very, very similar. And again, they got confident, hungry players, man. They remind you of OKC. You watch San Antonio, they almost do remind you of them. So I think they're one of the teams to look at when we talk about like OKC just running through the West and winning another championship. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think two teams to really watch out for, if you're asking my honest opinion, would be OKC and obviously San Antonio. San Antonio and Denver. Those are the two teams I feel like can really challenge OKC with, honestly, Houston doesn't have the shooting. It's my only concern. San Antonio has guys that can make some shots. Houston has a couple, but they have guys that can defend. So when you have like Torrey Eason, Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson, they got multiple guys who are elite at sliding their feet. They have a closer in Kevin Durant. You have a totally different Reed Shepherd. He's not the same guy that they guarded in game one of the season. That's another sleeper team that could be a pesky problem, I think, for a lot of people in the playoffs.